This morning on the news show, Ruben Amorim has demanded a striker in the January transfer window, with Victor Gyokeres being the top target for him. Manchester United are willing to take a £30 million loss on a midfielder, and is one of our wingers about to head out on loan to Spain? And how good of a deal is it for Manchester United? Let's get into the news. So as always, guys, thanks for tuning into the show. Please do hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. As you can see on the top left of the screen, we're on the road to 13,000 subscribers. And do hit that like button as well if you haven't done so already. But guys, we're going to start obviously with the major talking point over the last maybe 24 hours or so. And it's in relation to a striker. Ruben Amorim, according to reports, has demanded that Ineos sign Victor Gyokeres in January. We know the issues that are going on at United at the moment. And one of the major issues is our lack of goals and our lack of well, that's it, of just putting the ball in the net. We're really struggling to do it. Victor Gyokeres is one of the top strikers in the world at the moment, you have to say, you know, given the record and the amount of goals he's scoring in the Portuguese league. Now look, I mean, we know the connections there between Ruben Amorim and Victor Gyokeres, and there's a number of different outlets reporting on this. This report here is from the Star, and the Mirror have also reported on it this morning as well, saying United will reportedly try and sign him this month in a bid to save their season. Now, look, I mean, we know the issue with Victor Gyokeres here, and there was reports, small reports suggesting United could go for him in the summer just gone. But again, the amount of goals he scored this season has really, I suppose, intensified the pursuit of him. We do know that he has got a release clause of around €80 million. Now, again, the main concern here and the main issue was that Manchester United and any other club that was looking to go and buy him wouldn't have to match that release clause in the summer. There was a gentleman's agreement between Gyokeres and the club, and the president of Sporting suggesting that he could go for anywhere around 50 to 60 million in the summer. However, if somebody is to move for him in January, it looks like Sporting Lisbon will hold out for that 80 million release clause. So Manchester United and anybody else that may potentially want to sign him in January are going to have to maybe look at triggering that release clause if Sporting are going to sell. Can Manchester United afford to pay 80 million in the summer, in the January transfer window? I don't think we can, to be quite honest with you. We know already we need sales in January if we are to bring players in. We know Victor Gyokeres is one of the top talents in Europe at the moment, and you're going to have to pay a premium. You always have to pay a premium to get goals into your team, and that's it. It's not going to be any exceptions for Gyokeres. So while the connection is there between Manchester United, Ruben Amorim, and Gyokeres and Sporting Lisbon, and you know, I do think a deal could be done, Manchester United will have to pay a premium for him, and it is going to mean that we have to get sales done before we could get somebody like him in. But the fact remains, Manchester United are desperate to get goals into this team. We haven't got goals in our squad at the moment, and we know the lack of real experience in that forward line with the likes of Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund there. And I mean, the goals are just not adding up. It's going to be interesting to see how Manchester United move in the January transfer window. We know reports are linking us with Victor Osimhen as well. It's going to be interesting to see how Manchester United move. I think, and I said it last night on the live, that I think we need to end up with one of them two strikers. We really do, whether that be in January or in the summer. I think ideally we could get one of them in this transfer window. But again, like I said, sales are going to have to come first. Now, next up, guys, Manchester United are willing to take a £30 million loss on a midfielder. And to be honest with you, it's still good news, in my opinion. We know reports are suggesting that Casemiro could potentially move on in this January transfer window. And it's been reported by Graham Bailey today that United are willing to accept a £30 million loss on Casemiro, who is ready to leave the club. It looks like Manchester United are really pushing to get Casemiro off the books. We mentioned it again last night on our live that he's the highest earner at the club on £350,000 a week, which is astronomical money for a player of his age. And considering that we spend 60 million on him, if it means we take a 30 million loss, that fast maths would be we still would get 30 million for him, or what Manchester United are looking to get for him in this January transfer window. I would take the hand and all off you if somebody offered us 30 million for Casemiro. And look, it does look like Saudi Arabia is the number one route for him, and I think it's a natural fit, given the fact that he's on so much money at Manchester United. He's not going to get that anywhere else unless he goes to Saudi Arabia. And we know players don't like to take a pay cut. They don't, especially when you're getting into the twilight of your career. You know, Casemiro is winding down now, and you know, if he does go to Saudi Arabia, that will more than likely be the last move that he will make. And I mean, 30 million for Casemiro would be an absolute fantastic piece of business. It really, really would. Given his age, given the decline that we've seen over the last 12 to 18 months of him, I think would be absolutely fantastic. Now, do you have to replace him? That's the big question. And I think if we are to move Casemiro on, we've got, obviously, Ugarte has come in and he's going to be the new number 6 there, the defensive midfielder. He's been playing really well. However, who backs him up? You know, the last thing you would want to see is Ugarte getting an injury and all of a sudden you're left with 2 number 6s in midfield of Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes, for example. Not ideal. So I think if Casemiro moves on, I think United may potentially look at reinvesting it into another number 6 and maybe a backup option there. But look, again, I go back to what I've said. 30 million for Casemiro, you take it. You do not turn that down. Now, will it be 30 million? I think, again, like I said, the only way I can see Man United receiving £30 million for Casemiro is if Saudi Arabia come in for him. And again, look, we know there's a number of clubs interested in him. He's got a couple of former teammates playing out there as well, so obviously that would make the move easier for him. This is a deal, while I like Casemiro, this is a deal that I would like to see done. I really, really would, because 30 million coming in for him could be very well reinvested in the January transfer market. Again, I would like to see it done as quickly as possible as well, because it gives you that breathing space then to get business done throughout the remainder of the transfer window. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, guys. And finally, guys, a winger of Manchester United, another winger of Manchester United potentially going out on loan. And how good of a deal is it for Manchester United? Not a good one, in my opinion. Now, and look, we know who this is about. It's about Antony. A number of different reports from different outlets today suggesting that Real Betis want to sign Antony on loan with an option to buy, and have offered Manchester United a proposal that would cover a small part of his €12 million a year salary. Now, again, you know my take. If you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you know my take on loan deals. I think loans with options to buy are never a good thing for the selling club. They really are not. And if we're talking about Antony going to Real Betis with an option to buy rather than an obligation to buy, I think that's a stumbling block for Manchester United. And I don't see a real benefit for it. When we're talking about Antony and a €12 million a year salary, Real Betis are offering to cover a small part of it. So Manchester United are basically paying his wages nearly in full to have him play for somebody else, and not guaranteed to get a sale out of it at the end of the season. It's a bad deal for Manchester United, in my opinion. Loan deals, in my opinion, it needs to be a minimum of 50-50 in relation to salary being paid by the loan club. And of course, getting an obligation to buy into these loan deals is vitally important, in my opinion. We see with the Jadon Sancho loan deal to Chelsea, for example, they are paying quite a substantial amount of his salary, and also there is an obligation to buy. Now, the obligation to buy with Jadon Sancho is if Chelsea finish in the top 10, and they're clearly going to do that, and the higher that they finish, the more they will pay for Sancho at the end of the season. And I think that's a well-structured loan deal. This loan deal that we're talking about here with Antony, where there's not an obligation to buy, and United are covering the majority of his wages between now and the end of the season, it's just, it doesn't make sense. When we've got a squad that's thin enough as it is, why not keep Antony until the end of the season? You know, now I can understand there is a gamble there where you send Antony out on loan to Real Betis. You hope he does really well and they're delighted with him, and then they will say, yeah, we'll take him on a permanent deal, and you thrash out a negotiation, you know, and a price. But we've seen Antony over the last 18 months, 2 years. What evidence have we got to say that he's going to go out and rip it up at Real Betis? I don't know if he will, to be quite honest with you. Look, the pressure will be less, of course, and maybe he will do well, but I think you're taking a huge gamble with an obligation to buy and covering an awful lot of his salary with the thin squad that we've got. I'd rather him just stay put and play a cameo role when we need him for the remainder of the season. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section, guys, specifically in relation to the loan deal for Anthony. Do you think it's a good deal for United? Basically what we've just discussed. Let me know what you think about Casemiro and, of course, the striker situation. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. We will be back tomorrow, guys, as well. Obviously, there's no live coming up tonight. But we will be back again tomorrow for our lives also. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, guys. Turn on notifications as well. You get notified as soon as we upload a new piece of content. Hit that like button on the way out as well. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.